Hello everyone, I'm Geek Freak and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be reacting to your favorite Canadian YouTuber's video, Galactus versus the Darkness. Okay, this thing is going to be roughly around 40 minutes, but that's okay. I've got my water, which will help, and I've got myself some Jaffa cakes, so that way I won't get hungry while I'm watching this, which is awesome. Now, let's talk about these two. Number one, I have absolutely no idea. You know that I don't know that much about Skylanders. Now, as for Galactus, I don't know that much about him either. However, I did see Fantastic Four 2, which was like years ago. I don't put this. It wasn't a good representation of Galactus back then, and it's kind of sad really. I mean, Galactus should have came out before Thanos. I mean, that's my opinion. Anyways, who do I think is going to win in this fight? Well, I'll be honest. I have no idea what these two guys can do. Okay, I mean, I'm going to assume that Galactus is like all powerful and all stuff. I mean, considering like well, some people compare Marvel to DC, and like all these characters from both these series can be like universally universal destroyers and all that stuff. And that's one of the things that I like about like Marvel and DC. I mean, they just go like over the top, and it's absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. I just love it. As for the Darkness, again, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, your favorite Canadian YouTuber is well, he just really loves Skylanders so much. And you know what? More power to him. But like I said, I'm not gonna say like how do I say this? I'm not like into Skylanders. I mean, it looks good and all, but I'm just gonna stick with my own stuff. I mean, not to say Skylanders is bad or anything. It's just that it doesn't seem like something I would be interested in. But saying that, I'm pretty sure there's loads of people out there who is a fan of this series will say, yeah, but it's a great series. It's a great series. It's a great game. You've got to go and play to understand it. And yeah, it just doesn't seem like the sort of thing like I'm into. But as long as it can get this fight can give me a good fight, I'll be happy. And for me, I'm one of those people that loves to like I'm one of those people who loves a good story, a good story with good action. That's me. So who knows? Maybe in the future I might give Skylanders a try, or maybe I might I mean, who knows? I mean, the future's possible. I mean, no. I mean, the future has infinite possibilities. So, yeah. Enough talking. With so who do I think is going to win? I don't know, because I barely know these two characters. But since I know Galactus a little bit, I'm gonna go stick with this. I'm gonna go stick with him. So with that said and done, let's resume with the video. Okay, so this is Galactus versus the Darkness. And 3, 2, 1, and go!
Welcome to Show-Off Showdown! In this series, the fighters are called Show-Off, and this is the series for the Show-Off Showdown! Now let's meet the Show-Offs for tonight's showdown, shall we? Tonight, it's the Season 1 finale of really Show-Off Showdown! In fact, because this is a very special occasion, tonight's episode will feature Show-Off Showdown's very first co-host! Woo! Take it away, Corin!
Why, thank you, Canadian YouTuber. For tonight's big epic finale, what better way to end it off than with a godly apocalyptic epic battle between Galactus, devourer and destroyer of worlds, versus the darkness, the bane of all Skylanders, and the living embodiment of evil itself. This is a battle unlike any other, and you don't want to miss it. Oh, and by the way, while Canadian covers the darkness, I will be covering all of the analysis for Galactus. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Why, thank you, Corin. As our co-host has just explained, this battle will feature a full-on pre-analysis. First, Corin will cover Galactus, and then I'll be covering the darkness. So let's not waste any more time and get this apocalyptic party started, shall we? Now, without further ado, it's time for the Show-Off Showdown pre-analysis.
Galactus, devourer of worlds. But before he was actually Galactus, he was actually known as Gallon, a humanoid from the planet Ta, a planet from a universe that actually existed before the universe that we all know and love today. You see, Gallon was actually an explorer, but similar to almost every other backstory in fiction, folks, of course there has to be a tragedy. And this tragedy would come in the form of an unknown cosmic cataclysm. An unknown cataclysm that would gradually destroy the rest of the life in Gallon's known universe. Gallon, along with a few other survivors, would actually leave the planet Ta on a spaceship. But unfortunately, they would go on to be engulfed by the Big Crunch. And as fate would have it, Gallon himself did not actually die from being engulfed in this, but instead, he actually went on to bond with the sentience of the universe itself.
Ooh.
After bonding with the sentience of the universe, Gallon would emerge and would now be known as Galactus, devourer of worlds.
Oh, Moro.
However, after waking up, Galactus would actually find himself starving, so he decided to consume a nearby planet. And this nearby planet he consumed would actually be the first of many planets that he would go on to destroy and consume to maintain his own existence. You see, Galactus actually has a major role to play in helping maintain the balance throughout the entire universe. You see, similar to a god of destruction, Galactus helps maintain balance by destroying and consuming planets. And as we know, Galactus would eventually go on to create his first herald, aka Tyrant. He would create this herald in hopes that this herald would actually locate him planets to consume. However, this would fail when Tyrant himself rebels against Galactus. And his second herald, aka the Fallen One, would unfortunately end up being dismissed by Galactus due to his bloodthirsty attitude and nature. Galactus would eventually come across the planet known as Zim-Law and meet Norrin Rad. Norrin Rad would actually make Galactus an offer to become his herald if Galactus would spare his home world. And this is where we are introduced to one of the most known heralds of Galactus, aka the Silver Surfer. Galactus would eventually go on to create even more heralds, some of those being Terrax and Nova. Over the years, Galactus has made many enemies, many allies. He would actually encounter the Fantastic Four during his first time trying to actually consume the Earth. But you see, Galactus did not just go around consuming planets all these years and fighting against all these different enemies on just pure luck alone. No, you see, he has a bunch of crazy abilities that was actually granted to him thanks to the power of Cosmic. The power of Cosmic, aka the source of power that came into the known universe when Galactus himself emerged. And with this power of Cosmic, Galactus has demonstrated very crazy feats and abilities throughout the years. Heck, he has matter manipulation, energy absorption, transmutation, teleportation, telekinesis. He can create portals. he has reality warping. Heck, Reed Richards himself confirmed just Galactus's mere presence can alter reality.
Wow.
Heck, his actual existence bends time itself, influencing the past, present, and future simultaneously.
Wow.
And let's not forget about his crazy energy manipulation. Heck, he can control all different kinds of energy. Spiritual, mental, physical, cosmic energy, and even magical energy. Galactus has even shown he can put powerful illusions inside of the minds of his opponents. Heck, he can actually do this from several light years away from his targets.
Okay, why wasn't Galactus...
And let's not forget the fact he can actually remove all emotions from somebody's soul, making it much easier for him to control them and put them under his will. One of his more known abilities and one of his more powerful abilities would have to actually be his telepathic powers. Heck, his telepathic abilities allow him to actually rival, if not surpass, Skyfathers like Odin himself.
Ooh.
Heck, him and Odin had a very, very powerful telepathic battle, and in this battle, both were going back and forth, and guess what?
That's a serious,
Galactus
power.
was the first to awaken and overpower Odin himself. And just to give you an idea of how crazy that is, well, powerful telepaths like Charles Xavier and Emma Frost can only dream of being able to get inside the mind of Odin, let alone overpowering him after a long, hard telepathic battle.
So I take it that...
And I'm sure you're all actually wondering, well, just how powerful is Galactus? What level of attack potency is he actually on? How fast is he? How much punishment can he endure? Well, before we fully get down to just how powerful he actually is when he is well fed, I think it is smart and safe to go over what his heralds can actually do. Because you see, his heralds only have a very small portion of the power of cosmic. Literally a drop of water compared to the entire ocean. As we know, even one of his weaker heralds, aka Nova, has been seen capable of destroying a large star, and heck, the Silver Surfer himself has casually incinerated an entire solar system before. So as you can see, even a tiny drop of his power is capable of casually incinerating solar systems. And as we know, even when Galactus was heavily starving, he himself was capable of wiping out several solar systems and eventually the entire galaxy. And keep in mind, this was Galactus while he was heavily starving, and yet he's above baseline solar system level while heavily starving. And we can't forget about his first herald, aka Tyrant, and this is where we actually start getting to the more impressive feats of Galactus, folks. You see, him and Tyrant actually had a very intense battle, and in this battle, they actually slaughtered entire galaxies just from the shockwaves of their battle alone. And if they would have kept fighting, well, they would have endangered the stability of the entire Marvel Universe. And keep in mind, the Marvel Universe is not just one singular universe. It's actually made up of different realms and dimensions inside of this universe.
Realms,
you see, back in the day, Galactus actually made the mistake of giving Tyrant almost as much power as Galactus himself had. And after Galactus eventually put Tyrant down, well, he stripped him of that power of cosmic. And as we know, that's one main reason we don't see Tyrant that much anymore in the comics, folks.
Sad.
Oh, but that's not the only high-scale battle Galactus has actually been in. No, you see, he's actually battled the demon Mephisto inside of the demon's own realm.
Wow.
Where, as we know,
He's a
the
giant.
demon Mephisto in his own realm is actually more powerful than he would be outside of his own realm. And yet, Galactus was easily able to stalemate this demon inside of his own realm. And in this process, in this fight, they actually slaughtered entire galaxies with the shockwaves of their battle alone. And if they were to keep fighting, they threatened to destroy the entire Marvel universe as a whole. And as established a minute ago, the Marvel universe is not the size of a normal universe. It's actually made up of several other realms and dimensions within that universe. Oh, and as we've already established, Galactus has also battled against Odin and even overpowered Odin. And not just in telepathic battle either, folks. No, you see, in terms of pure raw attack potency as well. And as we know, Odin in his battle with Seth, their battle was so powerful and great that they were actually tearing through the fabric of the entire Marvel multiverse itself. And as we know, this could be seen as a shared feat, so you could say this at least makes Odin and Seth low multiversal each. And keep in mind, Odin during this battle with Seth wasn't even at full power, and yet the Odin that lost to Galactus was near his full power. Two of Galactus's best feats has to be when he literally stalemated Agamotto and the In-Betweener, two life forms, two entities who vastly outclass Odin himself. And yet, a well-fed Galactus was able to go toe-to-toe with these badasses and stalemate them both. But you see, Galactus is not just all about his attack potency and his crazy hacks and abilities. No, you see, he's actually insanely fast as well.
Yeah, considering how freaking
And
huge he is.
to start you all off with an idea of just how fast Galactus actually is, well, remember Silver Surfer, that herald of his that only has a small drop of his speed and power? Well, that same Silver Surfer is fast enough to cross 500,000 light years in seconds, and has even been seen reaching such a velocity he's capable of actually time traveling off his speed alone.
Damn, Flash.
And yet he only has a small portion, a very small portion of the power of Cosmic and Galactus. Oh, and you remember that Skyfather Odin, right?
Yeah.
Well, he can actually pull planets across the infinite universe in a split second. And guess what? Galactus considers that type of speed to be slow. Galactus is also a durable beast. This is actually shown when he literally took and survived punches from Zeus. And not just any Zeus, this was Zeus empowered by the Chaos King himself. And as we know, while Zeus is not empowered, he's still the same level as Odin. Heck, obviously he can also tank blows from characters like the In-Betweener and Agamotto, characters who are around his level. You know, the two characters who vastly outclass Odin, who Galactus stalemated. Yeah, those two characters.
A comic book. Well, like all the
and
gods.
if he should actually
that we
take
know, like Zeus
damage,
and Odin
well,
and all the other
he actually
gods,
has an insane
come together and
regeneration
just talks.
capability.
That'd be awesome.
For example, not even Death, the abstract entity, was able to claim Galactus. And let's not forget the fact Galactus is capable of regenerating from complete physical annihilation.
Wow.
But as impressive and overpowered as Galactus actually sounds, obviously he does have his limits and his flaws. And as we know, the main weakness with Galactus is, well, he has to eat planets in order to stay afloat. And as we know, if he goes longer than a single month without eating a planet, he will grow very weak and eventually die. But overall, Galactus is the devourer of worlds. He's had many heralds over the many years of his existence.
How can he go over
He can surpass Skyfathers in telepathic battles.
and just stop.
He can destroy entire galaxies just from the shockwaves of his battles. And when he's well fed, he can stalemate characters who tremendously outclass Odin himself.
Skylands, a magical world of wonder and adventure, protected by legendary heroes known as the Skylanders, and created by godlike beings known as the Ancients. However, long before the ancients created the portals that linked their world to ours, they created powerful devices known as rift engines. The rift engines were said by the Stoneheads to be capable of creating links and spreading magic and light to other universes, and are often used to power specialized supercharged vehicles, which I will talk more about later. Anyway, out of all the rift engines, the most powerful one the ancients have built was known as the Dark Rift Engine. However, when the ancients activated the Dark Rift Engine, they made a big mistake, as it opened a gateway into an unknown forbidden world, letting in a powerful dark force into Skylands that could not be contained. As the great dark force emerged from the shadows, all of Skylands began to quake, as it spoke in a deep, menacing voice that could be heard throughout Skylands, as it said,
I am the darkness.
The darkness is a godlike entity of pure evil, the bane of all Skylands, and the living embodiment of evil itself, and is quite possibly the most powerful antagonist in the entire Skylanders universe. Or at least he was until Chaos got an upgrade from the ancient brain, essentially becoming a god, but that's a different story. Anyway, as the Skylanders have been around for over 10,000 years, so has the darkness. For centuries, the darkness has spread throughout Skylands, terrorizing and destroying everything in its wake. How powerful is the darkness, you may ask? Well, it has been stated by Master Eon himself that the darkness has the power to consume and destroy every world in the entire universe. Whoa. Not only that, but the darkness's power even rivals that of the ancients, who are the gods who created the Skylanders universe. In fact, the darkness was such an enormous threat that the ancients were forced to create a powerful weapon specifically designed to destroy the darkness, known as the Core of Light. Back when the darkness's reign of terror first took place, the Skylanders fought hard and intensely against the darkness until they managed to push the darkness far back until it was in reach of the Core of Light, which then fended off the darkness and forced it into hiding in the darkest areas of Skylands. However, the Core of Light was not yet completed and therefore only acts as a shield to fend off the darkness, much like a Patronus, and won't be able to fully destroy the darkness until it has been completed. Not to mention, the Core of Light essentially acts as the darkness's kryptonite, as the darkness is made up of pure evil and the Core of Light is obviously the exact opposite. Anyway, for centuries, the Core of Light has kept the skies lit and the darkness at bay, until one day the notorious villain Chaos has destroyed the Core of Light and the darkness began to spread once again, until the Core of Light was once again rebuilt, forcing the darkness into hiding once again. Over the years, without any magic or energy to feed on, the darkness started to grow weak and slowly perish, until Chaos built a special station to preserve the remains of the darkness, known as the Sky Eater, which literally consumed the sky and kept the darkness sustained until it has regained its full strength once again. Anyway, the darkness told Chaos that he must destroy Skylands, and in return, he would give him the rest of the universe, so which began the process of consuming the sky until they can open the cataclysmic Mega Rift, destroy Skylands, and the darkness could spread to the rest of the universe. However, before they could do that, the Skylanders had finally completed the Core of Light, turning it into the weapon it was meant to be. However, before they could use it to destroy the darkness, Chaos used the Sky Eater to suck in and destroy the Core of Light. Again. Without the Core of Light, the only hope left of defeating the darkness was for the Skylanders to find the Dark Rift Engine, the same ancient device that brought the darkness into Skylands, and hope it would send it back to where it came. In fact, just before the darkness could destroy Skylands, the Skylanders found the Dark Rift Engine and brought it to the darkness's lair. However, with an unexpected twist, it was Chaos who betrayed the darkness by activating the Dark Rift Engine and sucking the darkness back into the dimension it crawled out of, and Chaos did this because he knew that his destiny was to rule Skylands, and destroying it would be destroying his destiny, and because he refused to be the darkness's puppet and rule the entire universe under someone else's name. Or at least that's the short version. Anyway, it seemed like it was all over as the end credits rolled, until the darkness managed to escape the grasp of the Dark Rift Engine and avoid getting sucked back to where it came. That's right, the darkness is so unstoppable that not one, but two magical ancient relics created by gods that were specifically designed to stop the darkness couldn't stop the darkness. Okay, well I guess the Core of Light could have destroyed the darkness if Chaos hadn't barged in and destroyed it before they could even get a chance to use it. Anyway, you're probably wondering, if the darkness truly is this powerful and nigh unstoppable, then how were the Skylanders possibly able to defeat such a threat? Well, to sum it up with only 2 words, the supercharged vehicles. I know it may sound confusing, but allow me to explain. The supercharged vehicles are powered by the Rift engines I mentioned earlier, and it was said by the Stoneheads that the Rift engines could create rifts, ride wormholes, and connect the Skylanders universe to everything. Keep in mind, the Stoneheads were said to know literally everything and are practically omniscient. Now, if I told you exactly how powerful the Rift engines really are, you wouldn't believe me. So you know what? I'll let Mag sum it up.
How do, Skylander? I hear you're needing some modifications to your vehicle. Well, that'll be no problem whatsoever. The real trick is gonna be upgrading the Rift engines with the power of a jillion lightning bolts and not causing a chain reaction that could destroy the entire universe! Literally.
Well, you heard her. Now, before anyone claims that Mags was bluffing, or that she's delusional judging by her cowgirl accent and whatnot, I'll have you know that Mags is not as crazy as she seems. She happens to be a professional undead mechanic and scientist, and she has invented literally 87 million different useful machines and devices, and on top of that, she is very knowledgeable of ancient magical technology, including the kind built by the ancients. So I'm pretty sure Mags knows what she's talking about. Anyway, you're probably thinking, if the Rift engines are really that powerful, then how come they haven't shown this kind of power anywhere in the game? Well, believe it or not, they have. For example, at the beginning of the game Skylanders Superchargers, Chaos was able to disconnect the portals that connected our world to Skylands, until Hugo found a way to hack into the system and reconnect them. However, because the connection was unstable, instead of being instantly transported to Skylands, the Skylander had to use a Rift engine-powered supercharged vehicle to manually drive through the portal all the way from our universe to Skylands. Because the inside of the portal was basically a link or gateway between 2 dimensions, this means the vehicle has literally driven from one universe to another in only 2 minutes or less. Not only that, but when the Rift engine has been upgraded with 10 jillion thundervolts, the vehicles were able to travel to another plane of existence where the dead lies, known as the Land of the Undead. Think of it as sort of like the Land of the Remembered from Coco, but it's more like hell than paradise. Anyway, the Skylanders could also use the Rift engines to create their own pocket dimension that they could store their vehicles inside until it's necessary to bring them out and use them. Now you're probably thinking, if the vehicles are that powerful, then how come they don't just eliminate everything and save the day in 10 seconds or less, or something like that? Well, like Mag said earlier, if the Rift engine's power becomes unstable, it could cause a chain reaction that'll destroy the entire universe. So pushing the vehicles to their limit 24/7 is a pretty bad idea. Theoretically, it's more likely that the Skylanders only use a very small percentage of the Rift engine's power, and won't use their full power unless absolutely necessary, as to avoid any serious apocalyptic consequences. This is quite similar to how Megatron from Transformers can tap into the power of a black hole, but only uses a very small portion of the black hole's power most of the time, as using too much of it may result in Megatron getting badly damaged or even killed. So the case with the vehicles is not too different from this. Anyway, at the end of the game, during the final boss battle, that's when it was necessary for the Skylanders to go all out and push the Rift engines to the max, as they battled the darkness inside a massive rift tunnel between the Skylanders universe and the Darkness's dimension. The Skylanders had to drive their vehicles through a bunch of rift surge rings, Superman 64 style, in order to catch up to the darkness and hit it with everything the Rift engines got, until eventually, after a long and intense epic battle, the Skylanders had finally defeated the darkness for good and saved Skylands along with the rest of the universe. Okay, now that I've finished digesting all of that, what exactly is the darkness capable of, you ask? Well, in terms of physicality, let's start with strength. Not only has it been said that the Darkness's presence alone could shatter mountains and islands with casual disdain, but that's nothing compared to his full strength. Near the end of the game, when the Dark Rift engine tried to suck the Darkness back into the dimension it first emerged from, just when the rift hole between dimensions was just about to seal itself and trap the Darkness inside forever, the Darkness was able to literally rip the hole back open with his bare hands. If I were to give a random but comparable example, this is very similar to when Majin Buu tore a hole in the fabric between 2 dimensions, or when Darkseid ripped a hole in reality with his bare hands. Now, the Darkness is also a lot faster than he looks, as he's fast enough to keep up with and even outpace supercharged vehicles, which are once again fast enough to travel from one universe to another in only 2 minutes or less, roughly about 1 minute and 36 seconds, which easily makes the Darkness massively faster than light. Now, as for durability, not only was the Darkness darkness able to withstand and escape the interdimensional rift with a gravitational force strong enough to pull him into another dimension, but the darkness could also tank multiple powerful attacks from supercharged vehicles, which the rift engines were once again charged with enough power to possibly destroy the entire universe. Though it's likely that not every single attack the darkness took was a universal hit, but even a small fraction of that kind of power is still very impressive, and considering how many of them it took to eventually defeat him, it's going to take quite a lot to take down the darkness. Now that we've covered physicality, the darkness has had a few forms throughout the Skylanders series. In the first game, he appeared as a series of dark clouds, which is coincidentally what Galactus looks like in the second Fantastic Four movie. In the third game, he appeared as a large hooded figure, and in the fifth game, he had first appeared as a dark, ominous, glowing force, but was then revealed to have a true physical form at the end of the game. And you know, I've actually noticed a pattern that the darkness only appears in every other game. Darkness, no darkness. Darkness, no darkness. Darkness, no darkness. Then again, he was destroyed in the fifth one, so that makes sense. Anyway, not only has the darkness come in many different shapes and sizes throughout the series, but the darkness has also had many useful powers and abilities, including telekinesis, firing giant lasers, can break apart his body into a series of dark clouds and spread across long distances, and not to mention can create tentacle-like arms from them, create illusions, freeze people in place, take away powers from others, can pull the shattered remains of the Sky Eater to his body as armor, matter manipulation, mind control, can create various objects that have dark magic such as giant blades, and large hands that sort of resemble the Master Hand from Super Smash Bros., summoning evil minions at will, and he can even trap you inside his own dimension where he is likely most powerful. Ironically, it's likely the same dimension that the Dark Rift engine was trying to trap the darkness inside, but now the darkness has escaped and kept the rift permanently open. He can now use his own dimension to his advantage against you. On top of that, the darkness can literally eat the sky, or in other words, he can consume the fabric of reality itself. Not only that, but the darkness's power was even able to turn Spyro into Dark Spyro, and Chaos was able to harvest this power into a form of a crystal called Petrified Darkness, or Evilizer crystals. These crystals can be used to transform any living being into a pure evil minion of either Chaos or the darkness, and they can't snap out of it until they're defeated. Not to mention, when the darkness was reduced to a small portion of his former self, he was still able to free Chaos from the indestructible Traptanian crystal prison that he was trapped inside by the Trap Masters from the end of Skylanders Trap Team. Now, there are probably a few other abilities that the darkness has I forgot to mention, but I'll likely write them down in the comments later. Anyway, just like how Galactus has his heralds, the darkness too has his own allies who share a small portion of the darkness's power. The darkness's most well-known and trusted ally would obviously be the notorious Dark Portal Master, Lord Chaos. Another close ally of the darkness will be Chaos's mother, Cassandra. In fact, it was briefly implied that Chaos's mom and the darkness were a little more than just allies, such as when the darkness taunted Chaos with a brief "your mother" joke. Not to mention, the darkness was also clever and manipulative enough to blackmail Chaos into obeying his every command, whether if he likes it or not. Also, it's likely that Chaos's supposed father and Master Eon's evil twin brother Strikecore is also allied with the darkness as well. Now, while the darkness is one of the most powerful villains in the Skylanders universe, that doesn't mean he's flawless, and he does have his weaknesses. For starters, being the embodiment of pure evil, the darkness is very vulnerable to pure light magic, especially the core of light. Not only that, but the darkness needs to feed on any form of natural or magical energy in order to sustain himself and keep himself strong, and he will slowly weaken or reduce if he goes too long without feeding. Also, despite his strong egotistical belief, the darkness is not invincible and can be put down with enough force, although once again, it's going to take quite a lot to do so. However, despite his flaws, the darkness has been known as the most powerful, evil, and feared being throughout Skylands for good reason, and any and all who oppose him will fall before the darkness.
All shall fear and obey me. I am the darkness!
I am the dark.
This is it, folks. Who will be the winner of this ultimate crazy epic showdown? It's time to find out. Now, without further ado, it's time for the Show-Off to Showdown!
This is a Drew Pickles disclaimer. Because there are no existing models of the darkness, the main animator of this battle, Speedster X123, has decided to use a model of the Time Eater from Sonic Generations to represent the darkness for the 3D animation fight sequence of this battle. I know it's not a perfect resemblance, but hey, close enough, right? P.S. The Darkness and Skylanders are owned by Activision and Toys for Bob, and Galactus is owned by Marvel Comics, which is now owned by Disney. Can't have a disclaimer without that shit now, can you? Hemata. I'm so glad this is the very last shitty disclaimer I have to give. Or at least for this season. Now enjoy the epic battle. It's going to be super swell. Link.
Get ready for the next battle.
Super swell. Okay, here we go. Take a breath. Oh, hello.
So this is the realm of the Portal Masters. I'm gonna enjoy destroying this miserable hunk of rock. Don't think about it. Who dares challenge the darkness?
I am Galactus, and I plan to consume this world. If you dare touch that planet, you shall feel the wrath of the powers cosmic.
I'm pretty sure Galactus will get the shits if he...
Very well. Come, foolish giant. Come challenge the all-powerful darkness.
You are a fool to think you have a chance against Galactus. This battle will be your grave.
Prepare to face the true power of the darkness.
You know, Galactus versus Beerus, that'd be awesome to see. A teeny weeny little god versus a big massive one. It's me, Mario.
Bendy. Yeah. Bendy, bendy, bendy. Yeah. Bendy, bendy. Bendy, bendy, bendy.
Impossible! You cannot defeat the darkness!
Your power is inferior compared to mine. Prepare to be crushed by the powers cosmic.
No!
It's all over, folks! The battle of the Season 1 finale is donezo!
Okay, after such a long, hard-fought epic battle, it's finally time to discuss how and why Galactus is the winner of the season finale showdown. Now, because Corin and I have already gone through the entire pre-analysis, let's keep this short and simple. But to be honest, you probably should have seen this coming, as it's pretty obvious that Galactus holds most, if not every, statistical advantage over the Darkness.
No offense, Canadian YouTuber, but I honestly thought you were going to wank the Darkness to the extreme, considering you have a history of doing that with other Skylanders.
Okay, first of all, I don't wank Skylanders. Not much, at least. Second, even if I wanted to wank the Darkness, there's no amount of wankage I could give the Darkness that would possibly be enough for him to beat someone like Galactus. There just isn't.
As for the stuff that actually matters, you're right about Galactus having every statistical advantage, which includes strength, durability, and definitely experience. As the Darkness may be over 10,000 years old, but Galactus has lived since before the beginning of the universe. That alone says it all.
Now, the only stat the Darkness has that may help him out in this battle would be speed, as he can outpace supercharged vehicles, which can drive between dimensions in 2 minutes or less. But even this impressive speed won't be enough for the Darkness, as Galactus has shown some pretty impressive speed feats of his own, and if the Darkness just tries to outmaneuver Galactus the whole time, he would only be delaying the inevitable. Now, some of you might be thinking, couldn't the Darkness use his petrified power to evilize Galactus, or trap him inside his own dimension? Well, I'll let Corin take this one.
Well, it's highly unlikely that the Darkness's evilizing power will be able to corrupt Galactus. Even if it could, what's going to stop Galactus from obliterating the Darkness before he even has a chance to evilize Galactus? Now, as for the Darkness's dimension, theoretically the Darkness could possibly trap Galactus in his own dimension. But even if he does, it won't really help him much. If anything, it may work against him, as Galactus has faced the same type of scenario before. Specifically, when Galactus stalemated Mephisto inside the demon's own dimension, who is virtually omnipotent inside of his dimension. In fact, he even forced Mephisto to admit defeat when he threatened to feed on and consume his dimension. So what's going to stop Galactus from doing the exact same thing to the Darkness's dimension?
Well said, Corin. While the Darkness is very powerful in his own right and a universal threat at best, Galactus has fought much more powerful opponents, from Mephisto to Odin, and he even took on 4 mad Celestials at once and killed one of them in the process. That alone is more than enough to describe why Galactus literally god stomps. I could continue explaining reasons why the Darkness stands little to no chance against Galactus, but there's really not much else I could say that hasn't already been said.
Yeah, and just imagine if we were using Lifebringer Galactus. It would be even more of a god stomp. Needless to say, it's an easy win for Galactus either way.
Yep, I think that pretty much sums it up. So in the end, Galactus reigns supreme and the Darkness has fallen. The winner of the Season 1 finale is Galactus. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to give a huge special thanks to everyone who helped make the Season 1 finale possible. For starters, I'd like to especially thank Corin O'Keefe for co-hosting tonight's episode, and for covering all of the scans and analysis on Galactus. This definitely couldn't have been done without him. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the main animator of this battle, Speedster X123, for his amazing 3D animation for most of this battle. I'd also like to thank the other guest animators, MLG Feast and Alfie and the Mario Bros. I'd also like to thank the Orange Diamond for voicing Galactus for this battle. And finally, I'd like to give a special thanks to Dreadlord for creating the awesome sprite sheet for the Darkness. All of these guys played an important role in making the season finale a reality, and I couldn't have done it without them. They all have plenty of awesome content on their channels, so do yourself a favor and go check out their channels and subscribe.
Got any ideas for Show-Off Showdown? Then let me know in the comments below, and hopefully, I just might do them. Now stay tuned for the next episode of Show-Off Showdown!
Actually, yeah, I do have one. Okay, hear me out this. What about the Necromorphs from Dead Space versus the Flood? Or what about the Necromorphs? No, yeah, the Necromorphs versus the Xenomorphs from Alien. That would be awesome. That'd be an awesome fight to see. Two parasites, and you know, two parasites, which is the Flood and the Necromorphs, and two entities that has like the word morph at the end of the name. And that'd be fun to watch. Oh, what else? Okay, Critters versus Gremlins. Please make that happen. Please make that happen. What else is there? Iron Man versus the Guyver. Make that happen. The the Eastern Vampire versus the Western Vampire. I can't remember what name was. The name is the it's like it's like it's like a hopping sort of like vampire. You'll if you look up on the internet, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, those are my ideas. So what did I think about this episode? I mean, what isn't it to say? I mean, it was all about fun episode. I really did enjoy it. It was fantastic. It was a bit of a how do I say this? It was a little bit of a one side. I mean, come on, you had to feel sorry for the darkness a little bit there. I can't think of anything else that can actually would be like a match for Galactus. I mean, yeah, there's Thanos, but I mean, he's got like this like glove that has like these. Like, well, you guys know who Thanos is, but it's just no. It is one. Okay, Moro versus Galactus. Make that happen. That would be so freaking awesome. I mean, they're basically the same character. Well, nearly. I mean, one's like all powerful and can eat planets, and I mean, Galactus is like much more powerful than that. Yeah, I think Galactus might actually win against Moro. Actually, who do you think would win, Galactus or Moro? Please let me know. So, yeah, I really did enjoy. I just love these like very deep talks when it comes to these sort of videos. They're absolutely fantastic. So, you guys know what's coming. If there's anything you guys want me to react to, just leave it in the comments section below, and I will get to that video as soon as I can. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Thank you guys for watching, and if there's a series you want me to check out and review and give my thoughts on it, or if there's a top 10 list you want me to do, or any reactions, or responses, or rants on anything geeky, just leave links and comments in the comment sections below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. And if you guys want to follow me on my social medias, I'm on minds.com, Twitch, Dailymotion, and Hatron, Reddit, BitChute, aka the new YouTube, DeviantArt, Discord, VidMe, Gab, Twitter, Tumblr, Patreon, GoFundMe, PayPal, and my other social medias are down there in the description box below, so if you want to go and check them out, please do. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video. And please go and check out my new skeptic channel, Gypsy Freak. It's also down there in the description box below. Peace out.